Today we're going to be taking a look at a Buzzwole Garbodor deck that recently popped up in the St. Louis regionals, and I believe Collinsville actually instead of St. Louis. I believe this deck, or a deck similar to this deck, also got second place in the juniors division at Oceania Internationals. So it's a very solid archetype based on Buzzwole GX and Garbotoxin. Main attacker is obviously Buzzwole GX, a very strong attacker. Jet Punch is 30 and 30 for 1. Knuckle Impact is 3 for 60. And Absorption GX can hit for up to 240 if you have all 6 of your prizes remaining, and also doesn't have the drawback of not being able to attack your next turn. And Buzzwole, obviously, its fighting typing is extremely good because not only does it do high damage, but also hits for weakness against Zoroark. And also can knock out a Zorua turn 1 with Jet Punch. And it's just an extremely strong attacker in general with lots of ways to boost its damage. Couple this with Garbotoxin from Breakpoint, Garbodor from Breakpoint, whose Garbotoxin ability shuts off all abilities in play when you have Pokemon Tool card attached. An interesting thing to note about the Garbotoxin ability is that it's not that the abilities don't even work, it's that they don't even have abilities in play. So if your opponent's playing Zoroark Weavile, or just a Weavile card in general, does more ability or more damage based on abilities in play you have in play. If Garbodor is a tool on it and Garbotoxin is active, Garbotoxin is technically the only ability in play, so it would only do 50 damage. Now we run one Zygarde EX to help deal with the Mew EXs and Mewtwo's that try to prey on the psychic weakness of our Buzzwole. We also want a 2-1 Carbink Break line. This is mainly for mill decks and just energy acceleration in general. You could run the Energy Saver Carbink, which is even better against mill decks and decks that try to discard your basic energy. And it says that, all basic energy can't be discarded from your Pokemon. But I prefer the Safeguard because there are some really niche scenarios where against maybe a Volcanion EX or a Mew EX that can protect you and even help you quickly or safely deal with the Mew EX as well. And also, since Carbink's Diamond Gift is 20 and attached to energy to any of your fighting Pokemon, it can be strong energies too. Since they can attach it to itself, I feel like often enough, if you keep on Diamond Gifting onto the Carbink, eventually they'll run out of ways to discard your energy, and then you can Diamond Gift to wherever you want and fill up your board with energy. So I find that the Energy Saver is really irrelevant since we run a 2-2 line. We also run 2 Tapu Lele GX, even though our deck is trying to get out in a ability lock. Wonder Tag is still extremely strong in the early turns, or if our opponent turns off our Garbotoxin in the late turns to grab a supporter. Speaking of supporters, we play 4 Professor Sycamore, 2 N, since a lot of times since we have Garbotoxin, we have no way to draw out of a low N, which this has been one of the main weaknesses of Garbotoxin Garbodor decks, that they really can lose hard to late game ends if they can't draw out of it. Since before Ultra Prism, the only really strong draw supporter they had was Professor Sycamore. But now that Cynthia's out, which we play 4 of, just you shuffle your hand and draw 6, gives you 4 more outs of supporters, which really just increases the strength of these Garbotoxin decks, which is 4 more draw supporters we can draw into that we don't need abilities to get, and that can refresh our hands after a late game end. We run 4 Guzma to choose what we want to hit or knock out, or even try to strand in the active on our opponent's side in the field. We run 1 Lily, which is a really good supporter turn 1. You can search out for Tapu Lele and then draw till you have 8 cards in your hand, or just 6, like even drawing 2-6 in the late game. It's a nice extra consistency supporter we run. Now finally, we run 4 Ultra Ball, obviously, to search out our Pokemon. 4 Max Elixir to try to accelerate basic energy, fighting energy onto either our Buzzwoles, Zygardes, Tapu Leles in a pinch, or our Carbinks if we haven't evolved in the Carbink break yet. We run 3 Fighting Fairy Belt, which gives our Buzzwoles plus 40 HP and do 10 more damage. We run this as opposed to the usual choice band you see in Buzzwole, because this Buzzwole list is not nearly as aggressive or as fast. And a lot of times having the extra 40 HP and the 10 damage, since we're playing more controlling type game, can be extremely helpful. It's also, and from 4 Floatstone, gets rid of Buzzwole's 2 Retreat Costs, Zygarde's, I believe 3, I thought it was 2, but 3, and Garbodor is a 3 Retreat Cost, as well as needing a tool, so 4 of these is helpful. If we really need to, we can attach Fighting Fury Belts to Garbodor, but it's really not ideal. Nest Ball, we don't run any Bridget, so Nest Ball really helps consistency of finding basics putting them directly onto our bench. So the theory is with all our draw spores, we should be able to draw into the basics or Ultra Balls as well as the Nest Balls. Run 2 Parallel City to reduce damage from fire, grass, or water if we need to, or in the main cases, limit your opponent's bench to 3. You can really limit their options as well as limit Zoroark GX's damage potential with this, and make it so that they can't 2-shot your Buzzwoles with Fighting Fury Belt, and make them have to 3-shot you, which can be really strong, especially when you have that fighting weakness. There are 9 basic fighting energy to try to our max elixirs, as well as 4 strong energy to make our fighting Pokemon do 20 more damage for each one attached. And like I believe I mentioned this earlier, but strong energy, even though it's a special energy, Carbon Break has no like restrictions to what type of energy you can attach. So we can attack strong energies if we need to, or if we have the option to, from our discard onto anything we want. So that's the deck, and it's a really strong deck in the format right now, an ability-reliant format, especially with a lot of fighting weak things to prey on. So let's take it into a game and see how it runs. Against Sheer Hurt Tack. I'm not quite sure how to say that, but it looks like he is going first, because he didn't want to flip, and yet he does indeed choose to go first. So we actually have a pretty good starting hand. I think we can Lele for the turn 1 turn 1 Lily, not Bridget. It's usually what I do in our decks, but not in this deck. We are playing against the Zoroark. Is this the Zoroark Magnezone deck? I've heard a little bit about this. It plays Zoroark in like a 302 Magnezone line, and I think like 1 Duskmane Necrozma, or Magearna. Again, this still could be Zoroark, what's it called? Zoroark Type Null. Is this Silvally Zoroark Metal? Yeah, so hitting out there. Touch Fighting here. Put a Fighting Fury Belt here, and we're just gonna Lily for 6. Since we will have a Sycamore and an Ultra Ball to grab a Garbotoxin, this is where Lily is really helpful to draw me 5 fresh cards while also keeping the 3 cards in my hand. That can open up plays for next turn. And I'll hold off on the second Trubbish. Actually, I'll bench second Trubbish just in case he tries knocks out a Garbodor, or even tries to knock out this Trubbish. Keep his abilities online. And I will put 30 on the Zorua to pressure it, and if he doesn't evolve either of them, we can Guzma up this Zorua and take a double knockout. I believe since everything in his deck is fighting weak, pretty much, except for this Magearna and this Tool Magearna, which I don't believe can attack, we have a pretty good matchup, although Type Null, Silvally GX does have the Psychic Memory, which it can use to turn Psychic type to one-shot Buzzwole. So there are a few things that we need to be careful of. I think Carbon Break will be really good in this matchup in order to accelerate energy and help set multiple attackers. So he's using his trades. Hopefully he doesn't hit DCE Psychic Memory. Off this, what is it, 7 cards in his hand? Yeah, 7. You never know. Sometimes I hit it. It's still the first turn, or his second turn. So there's still a lot of cards in his deck. It's not the most likely outcome, but it happens sometimes, you know? I don't think he's hit it, because if he hit it, he probably would have played it down almost immediately. And he's just going to let me hit this change close Magearna. 1, 2. So we'll attach, actually I don't know where I want to attach Strong Energy. We're going to Ultra Ball away the Ultra Ball and the Strong Energy for sure. We're going to grab the Garbotoxin to evolve it to try to hit a tool. Any tool will do, basically. because shutting off abilities against this deck is going to be huge. And I guess I will attach Strong to the active. We'll see if we can get an energy down in the card bank. No. So we do hit the Floatstone and the Parallel City. He will just bump off the damaged Magearna more likely than not. But it makes it so that Zoroark isn't as viable as an attacking option, as well as his bench being limited for putting down anything he might want to. So we are going to start setting up damage on this Silvally, just in case it does get the Psychic Memory in order to be able to have an answer for that. So now he can't use his ability to Free Retreat. This Magearna too, unless he has a second Field Blower. Which Zoroark GX decks now, they're starting to cut down on the supporter lines, since you do have trade to rely on. Not only drawing you cards, but thinning your deck out. So he doesn't have too much draw in the world after this Cynthia, but he does play Enhanced Hammer and get that down. So let's see what we want to do from here. We definitely want to evolve this for sure. I'm kind of tempted to just attach to this Carving Break, Guzma up the Silvally, and put both Strongs on this guy, and put both energy on this Buzzwole. Kind of try to split it up 2 Buzzwole, as well as saying you can take the Carving Break out, but I'm going to have 2 Buzzwole GX ready to go, essentially. As well with these 2 Strongs on the Buzzwole, plus the 40 from the Diamond Gift, we will be able to knock out this Silvally with the Jet Punch from this fully loaded up Buzzwole, or almost fully loaded Buzzwole, allowing us to use our energy attachment to the second one, even if we don't find any Max Elixirs. So we're taking a little slower play, but we're kind of telling our opponent, I don't think you have anything, because 6-card hand, you would need a really big combination of cards like Guzma Floatstone, I guess, off this. But I don't even think this Zoroark GX plays any Floatstone due to the Draw Unit ability, and if it does, it's no more than 2. 2 might be a lot, probably only 1. So we're kind of taking a little risky bet on him not having Guzma Floatstone. But Zoroark GX decks have cut down to 2-3 Guzma usually, but it's better than hitting this Magearna for probably only 30, and then poking for 30. This puts us into a position to take the first big knockout and knock out the only main threat on the board. And our opponent's hand is probably weaker since he hasn't even played down anything in about a minute, and he just has to pass. Weird that he wouldn't use Turbo Drive to just knock us out. So we do have our Guzma in our hand. I am just going to Cynthia. Try to draw a fresh hand, maybe draw some energies to attach. If we do get an energy, we'll put that there, kind of split power him up, and let me double check my math. 30, 50, 70, 140. That's exactly a knockout we set up. And we'll put the 30 on, I suppose it doesn't really matter. If we put it on here, we still won't have enough. So let's put it here, because maybe a Strong Energy will allow us to Jet Punch both Zoroark GXs. So now he has no good way to deal with this Buzzwole GX, because the only thing I can one-shot it really is either Rebel GX or Turbo Drive with the Psychic Memory. So now he's probably going to promote this, and then we can just put on pressure with Jet Punch. So as if he puts up a Zoroark GX, we can Absorption for the first one. Then we have 2 Buzzwoles ready to Knuckle Impact, and just take a knockout on the Zoroark, second Zoroark for the last 2 prizes. And as you can see, the true power of this deck, even though it's not as explosive or does as much damage as, let's say, the Buzzwole, like just a typical aggressive Buzzwole deck you would see, you can say you can just take control of the game and just kind of shut down your opponent and make it so they can't really execute their strategy because of their ability a lot, as well as just carefully placing damage and using smart plays to put yourself in the position to win the game. Anyways, if you want to see another deck, put it down in the comments, and see you next time.